grain and sugar.
It's what whiskey is, grains and sugar.
Well, again, if you don't have cancer or arthritis or viruses or bacteria, blueberries are really good. Wheatgrass is a lot better. It tastes as good as blueberries, but a lot better. And what you have to know is I have something called Fisnor oil that's 50 to 60 times better. It's the seeds of those berries. Cranberry is the top, by the way, of all of that. And black raspberries supersedes blueberries. But you've got to watch now. If somebody says to me, I'm well, it's 5 years later, I'm going to eat some blueberries, knock yourself out. I'd much rather have you have blueberries than I would mangoes. Totally different story. And let's assume that you didn't completely break the bodies of your children down, that they still have digestive potential, that they've been eating healthy diets, that you haven't brought them up on fast food, McDonald's, and sugar. Now we assume that that has happened. They could eat up to 30-40% of their diet as ROF, ripe organic fruit. But you have the same battle, where are you going to get ripe fruit? Yeah. You live in California as an example. Yeah, California is a great place. I mean, there's a person and watch it fall and know that it's there, you can see. When you live in New York City, forget it. You live in Florida. You can get ripe organic oranges here, unless you have a tree. Talk about seeds. Seeds are sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds,
Hemp seeds.
hemp seeds. Then we have nuts, pistachio nuts. Always eat these raw. Once you roast them, they become carcinogens. Walnuts, pecans, almonds. In the United States, you cannot buy raw almonds. Your government made a law to pasteurize and irradiate almonds. Filbert nuts, which are hazelnuts. This list goes on and on and on. So there's a wide variety of nuts, and all over the world there's different nuts. When I go, to more exotic places, I'm always surprised to find a new nut or two I've never heard of before. Underground, ask Ken, he can tell you. There's ways to get the raw almonds, and national conspiracy. Many times when we cannot get the California underground, we have to get Italian almonds, which this is one thing I am prejudiced about. Most food in Italy is much better than American food. This is one that's not. The almonds in California taste a lot better because they're more like apricot seeds. The one. Keep going.
So
Yes.
grains and...
Now, the one exception is if you took a protein powder like Sun Warrior, which is literally they got rid of the carbohydrate and it's 85% protein. And you took strained nut milk, so now the fibrous part's gone, and the fermented rice, that would be acceptable because it's going to go through at the same speed. Nobody's going to collide in that.
Does that then make them a sprout and not a grain like
no,
quinoa?
not a nut. See,
Not nuts or grains?
This is a good question,
Okay.
and I'll explain it in a way hopefully it will be easier for you to understand. They all sprout, and seeds, they all sprout in 2 days.
Nuts, grains, and
Yeah,
seeds.
so they're little tiny things. The only exception to that is sunflower. Sunflower is 1 day. Hours, another 18 hours, bingo, you're done on that one. Every other one is 2 days, so it's a little condensed thing. So it's like I'm like this, I'm condensed. It's still hard to break that down. So it's going to go through my body much slower. My metabolism is going to slow. Green sprouts, they rush through the body. So everything from the sunflower, here it's what?
Tight. Okay.
It's like a liberate. It's like, I always picture a sprout like that, an adolescent girl that's about ready to give birth to a child. She's completely different than a little child. Child
Okay.
comes out like a seed. Now it's this woman who's just blooming at the stage she's going to give birth to her first child. If you grow chia on soil and make them greens, yeah.
Okay.
Tomatoes,
Yes.
avocados, and tomatoes.
Avocados are great.
With basil?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yay.
But here's the thing you have to know. Don't really use corn chips. We all want corn chips. My Italian friends taught me this years ago. During tomato season, buy a massive amount or grow a massive amount of tomatoes. Dry them. They are better, much, much better tasting than a corn chip. You take the dried tomato,
Oh.
it's like a chip, you put it in, and it's phenomenal.
So flax, tomato,
Flax,
dehydrated crackers? No, you can't do that.
flax is good without tomatoes.
Okay,
You put
so
onions in the flax, garlic in the flax.
what would you use as a binder if you were making a tomato cracker for the to dehydrate it?
Good question. You could probably use a puree. You'd have to really, really puree the tomato,
Yeah.
and it could become thick. Because if it's too porous, it's not going to hold together. So puree part of it, blend it.
With avocado, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, avocado.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
number one, if one just had a heart attack or stroke, avoid oil for a period of time. You're getting adequate amounts of oil on this program. So, I mean, in your sprouts, you get oil. Lettuce has incredible oil. I happen to like the taste of olive oil, avocado oil, now somebody gave me when I forget where I was speaking, Ohio, they gave me pumpkin seed oil with organic, I just love this stuff. Get the one that's not plain, it has vanilla and it has stevia.
No oil in a smoothie. No oil in a smoothie.
When you freeze anything, you're going to kill it.
Okay.
Yeah. There was an interesting inadvertent study done on the West Coast where hunters, this must go back 40 years ago now, when I first began this work. And they actually, when you saw Jurassic Park, it was actually born out of that. They've actually have the cells, living cells. So the outer part was all dead, the frozen part, but when they got deep into the carcass of the animal, they found living cells.